What it is and what's good, y'all. Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go over the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and like I just said, we about to recap The Shine. Probably Black America's favorite show right now. It might be our only show right now, like that's currently airing. It might be, other than anything that's on BT or something like that. Which, yeah, I mean, I don't really watch the Tyler Perry network. No, for no reason. I don't have no reason other than, just other work his. I'm not really a fan of. But so yeah, man. So The Shine, episode three. This episode is called The House Party. Right, House Party. So yeah, man. If again, we talked about it last week, and again this week. This is an ensemble cast, right? So, I mean, there's certain characters that we haven't seen. One character in particular, though, that I feel like we haven't really seen him all season yet. I don't know. Is there something going on? I really can't remember seeing. I think we might have seen him quick in episode 1, but we haven't seen Jake yet. Like, we haven't seen him in the last 2 episodes at the very least. But he might have been in episode 1. I just don't. I do kind of remember it, but I'm like, it's kind of vague. Like, this guy was not, like, he hasn't been in the last 2 episodes. So, we're not getting every character, but this episode, we got a lot of them, right? And they were trying to kind of blend it in. And most of this episode is surrounding, so Emmett and Kiesha, right? I predicted that they might not work out, whatever. And then, they made me eat my words, right? Because they end up, moving forward with trying to buy a house. Obviously, there's strings attached to buying that house because they got it with the help of Douda. And, we already know how that's kind of, that might play off. And we're going to talk about kind of like this bubbling conflict, this bubbling tension, right? Because a lot of people got, like, every episode, somebody else has their sights on Douda or whatever. And this episode, we get a new character, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But everything is surrounding this housewarming party, right? Like, we do get some scenes outside of that, right, in the beginning. But we're gonna kind of jump a little bit. I guess we're gonna kind of jump a little bit around to some things, whatever. I guess, but we can kind of start with Papa. All right, we could start with Papa. And early on in the episode, he steps up, man. I mean, I like who Papa is kind of turning into a little bit. He's starting to mature a little bit. Obviously, he's still PK. We know he's a PK. We know he's a preacher's kid, right? And so he still has certain tendencies. He's still an honest kid. Like, he's still a genuinely good young man, right? However, what I mean, he has new love interests, right? He ain't dealing with Maisha no more. Maisha was his speed, what I mean, and it just didn't work out. So he's trying to date this older girl. And he had to step up. He stepped up. We know he's the manager of Smokies, right? So you got this young boy. He's managing the restaurant, and he has eyes set on this like 18 or 19-year-old, what I mean, a girl that's older than him. And she gets a complaint from a disgruntled customer, and Papa just comes in and shows how assertive he is, right? He, he solves the problem. He gives the guy, he figures out what the issue was, because the guy didn't want to talk to a kid manager. He wanted to talk to an adult. So he figures out the solution, whatever. And then he even stepped up and was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this right for you, but you gotta apologize to my coworker. And then he, the guy was like, my bad, sis. And he was like, nah, come correct, basically, old head, apologize to her. And then she did, and he did apologize to her. And you could tell the girl was impressed. She asked him questions about like how he manages his attitude in the face of disgruntled customers, and everything is good, right? It seems like everything is good. But we are going to skip towards the end of the episode. And Papa, man, he's green, man. He's naive. He's inexperienced, right? Because this girl is wanting to chill with him, right? He's wanting to chill with him. And then Papa don't realize he just played himself, because this kid, he's talking about like, she wants to go to a movie, and he's like, oh well, I gotta be in by 11 and this and that, whatever. And he was being honest, like, you know what I mean? And that's one thing you could say about Papa, is that he's always gonna be genuine, right? He's always gonna be himself. Like he's never acted out of character. Like even as he's maturing, he's still himself. And he was just being honest and genuine. And that turned her off all the way, whatever. And it was like, dang, Papa, like there's a way that you could do both, right? In that instance, right? Like, so if a girl's asking you to go on a date, you know what I mean? And it's something where you might get in trouble, because he tried to play tough. He tried to be like, oh no, fuck that. Like, like they don't gotta know where I am, whatever. But he could have made it work for him, right? So he should have basically he could have been more assertive in that instance. So he doesn't have he has assertiveness when it comes to dealing with customers or whatever, but he doesn't have that yet when it comes to girls and young women. And what he could have done was he could have controlled the narrative. So she wants to go to the movies, and she's saying this time, and he could have just been like, nah, well, I'd rather go out with you on the weekend during the day, and because then afterwards we can go get dinner, and it could be a longer date, a longer experience, because I want to spend the day with you. I don't want to just go out with you at the movies and we don't talk. I want to talk about the movie afterwards or something like that. Like he could have did it smooth, like to where he doesn't kind of like flaunt or showcase his youth and his inability to kind of do what he wants. But he could have played it smoother. You know what I mean? Like, why not do a Sunday fun day? Why not do it on Saturday? Whatever. Why trying to do it at night time? Like you could have made it. He could have made it work. He could have made a day out of it. But he don't got that game yet. So yeah. And then the girls just completely turned off. And so we'll see, man, if he bounces back from that. I don't know, man. That was a tough thing to watch, because I was like, dang, Papa, like, you're talking too much. You're talking too much. You know what I mean? And it's not gonna work out in his favor. So so that was kind of interesting. One thing that we saw too in this episode was Kiesha and Emmett, right? They're well, one of the open scene, and we won't talk about that, but like, no, we'll just get into this. But Kiesha and Emmett, they're thinking about who they're going to invite to this housewarming party. And obviously, we got the staple people. Now we got, Keisha's mom is going to come. Emmett's mom and dad's going to come. Keisha's moms are going to come. The family's going to come. But then what friends, and obviously some characters that we know, but they mentioned two different characters that they're kind of friends with. You know what I mean? There was a guy named Lamar, and then I think her name was Latoya. I forget, but it was a friend that Kiesha was inviting. And just in that, right, you can automatically see, right, this idea of, when you get to a certain point in your life, and maybe not a certain point in your life, but just in aging, you start to outgrow old friends, right? So what do y'all think about that? Do you think, because it's always interesting to me, they never really tell us what their age is, like, and you kind of got to do math in your head a little bit, like trying to figure out, like, well, dang, what grade, like, what, she was still in high school when she got kidnapped, right? So then, but then was Emmett in school at that time? Like, so it's kind of vague, like how old they are. I'm assuming they're both early 20s. I'm thinking Kiesha can't be no older than 21 years old. Like, I don't see her being older than that. If that, like, she might be 20 for real. And Emmett, you know what I mean? He might be 23, 22 years old, whatever. And so obviously they're growing and they're getting more mature, but is this idea of like, are they old souls? Because they're not in their mid-20s, they're not in their late 20s, whatever. And so this idea of kind of outgrowing your friends, I think that happens, but I think it's almost a little bit overstated. I don't know if they necessarily outgrew their friends, but they're definitely on a different type of time than their friends. I think they could probably still, forge friendships with those people, but they definitely on different type of times. You got the guy Lamar. He's basically doing the stuff that Emmett used to do, right? You know what I mean? He talking about having multiple women and this and that, whatever, and trying to tell him how to live and work out and stuff like that. And then you got Keisha's friend, who is like, she's pregnant, right? You know what I mean? And she kind of got that condescending tone. She's asking too many questions, kind of trying to get into her pockets, trying to figure out her finances, but also coming with that negative tone where she's like, oh yeah, how much y'all pay for this? Like almost like they can't afford it. Also, put it in her head like, hey, do you trust Emmett? You know what I mean? Are you sure you should trust Emmett? Because that reputation, he gets around, or he used to get around, and that definitely turned Kiesha off. So I can definitely see how they definitely carry themselves a little bit more mature. Keisha is very, very mature for her age, and whatever that age is. But I thought it was interesting because, yeah, like that happens in life, you know what I mean? People that you thought you were going to be friends with forever, and people that you could still probably talk to, and you could probably invite them to a housewarming party or a baby shower or a birthday party for your kids. But it's somebody that you're not gonna call when you got a problem. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be somebody that you call to help you move to another house or something like that. It's just you gotta come when you get older, you start to compartmentalize your friends, right? And it's funny because some people, there are young adults that still believe that, like, no, I got this core of like 8 friends and we're gonna stay together forever. And it's like it could happen, but I mean, if you're men, once men start getting married and getting relationships, they get pulled into the direction of the women. Women have a little bit stronger chance. However, when women start having kids, they start to get pulled into their family. So like it naturally kind of dissipates, whatever. So yeah, it's interesting. But definitely a relatable angle with that. So we saw that happening. And another thing that we saw happening, and this was like these are 2 people that were going to the party, and it was Rashad, right? Rashad and D-Ray Davis, right? He playing that, I forget his name on there, the character's name, but he's playing that self-help guru, and Rashad catches him in Smokies, and he's kind of talking, and the guy is like, he's already been exposed on the show, he's already been exposed as being a fraud. But obviously he's still able to kind of get a dollar, or still maintain that reputation. So Rashad goes to try to talk to him, and the guy tries to play him, and it's like D-Ray tries to play him. It's like, me, I need money, or you can set up a consultation, and then there's no seats in Smokey, so he got to sit next to him. So he's talking to him, whatever, and then I think that was just commentary on like just this idea of these self-help gurus, maybe these red pill men and things like that, where he's giving Rashad this advice that is not really going to be helpful. And just in general, man, a lot of these guys, and the thing is, Kevin Samuels gets kind of lumped into some of that, but I don't think Kevin Samuels necessarily applies, because, and I'm gonna get to that in a second, but a lot of these self-help guys, these relationship guys, these gurus, these red pill guys, their target audience is inadequate men, right? And so Rashad is drinking the Kool-Aid, and he's hearing this guy talk about how he should be with women and things like that, and he's listening to him, and this guy is validating Rashad. And it's like, no, bro, like you gotta get yourself right, man. Like you probably like, it's cool that you had a shorty that wants to kind of help you out and hold you down a little bit, but to be honest, you know what I mean? Everybody deserves love, a little bit of love, but like everybody don't necessarily need to be in a relationship, right? Because you might need some attention, you might need some companionship, whatever, but everybody don't need to be in a relationship, especially when you trying to get out of a certain rut. Because again, your woman is not going to necessarily respect you in the same way if you stay in that rut. And if she, and here's the sad thing, is that if it's nice if a woman can help you out, whatever, but if she holds the bulk of that help, and then you leave her, right? If you happen to get on your feet and you leave her, she's gonna talk crazy on your name and talk about how she made you who you were and things like that, and what I mean, it's gonna build way more resentment. So I just think it's best, and even if he doesn't leave her, I think it will build resentment in that relationship if she continues having to like lead, basically, because he can't lead, because He don't have the resources to. But what I was saying with Kevin Samuels and why he doesn't really, like, I know people try to put him into that category, but he don't fit into that because if you know anything about Kevin Samuels, he always, like, he started off, his message was towards men, and men literally improving themselves for themselves, and then obviously then you can get women. It wasn't this, what I mean, everybody look at the Kevin Samuels like, and because he's talking to women from a male's perspective, but he's talking to women from a male perspective, from a male that kind of got his shit right. You know what I mean? The high value man, right? He's talking to them from the man that got his shit right, and he's talking to women like, hey, the men that got their shit right, this is what they want. And unfortunately, there are men that don't got their shit right, and they're listening to Kevin Samuels, and then they're going back to the women and like, yeah, yo, I deserve this and this and this, and then your woman is looking at you like you got, like, you stupid or whatever, because it's like, bro, I take care of you. I take care of you. You supposed to be taking care of me. I take care of you. So I don't know, man. That's a dangerous game to play. That's a dangerous little friendship relationship to kind of forge for Rashad, because it's not gonna get him to where he needs to be, right? He talking about, dude, like, oh, do she make you smoke outside? And he like, yeah, man. And it's like, bro, don't fight that battle, man. Like, that's not your fight. That's not your battle to fight, man. Like get your shit right, and then you're gonna have a leg to stand on. So I don't know, man. We're gonna see with Rashad, but again, his arc is just so like just going there. Like, I need the writers, which I know the season is already recorded, whatever, but I need to see some elevation, man. I don't want to see just a regular dude, man. And they got to make it believable, though. You know what I mean? Like, don't make him like hit the lottery or something like that, or fall into some multi-million-dollar job. Like, no, man, can we see him figure something out and start something and really grow, whatever. So that's my take on Rashad, man, and what he got going on. And then so Douda, man, Douda shows up to the party. Everybody's at the party. Douda shows at the party, and everybody goes silent. Like, and that's just the energy that he brings, whatever. So I previewed this, whatever, and I said, like, every episode, the sites are getting the sites on Douda are closing in, whatever, right? So in episode 1, we saw Papa's dad like be vocal with Douda, and it's like, yo, I want you out of my neighborhood. You know what I mean? You're cancer, you're poison, whatever, right? You don't need to be here. So obviously we don't, we might feel that Papa's dad can't really do much in this instance, but he has his sights on him. Although Rob don't know for sure, his mom probably knows for sure. And we got Rob and his mom. They got their sights on Douda. And then in episode 3, Douda comes in, everybody's silent, whatever. He tells Emmett he has a housewarming gift. They go into the room. He gives Emmett a gun, and Emmett is he's uncomfortable. He's like, yo, I don't need this. Like, I don't have no problems with nobody. But naive, you know what I mean? Which I don't even know if it's naive. I think he's really trying to he's trying to be oblivious to it, whatever. But Emmett got to know that, like, hey, man, the guy that you rolling with, like, you might need this piece, whatever, because beef that comes to him might come to you, and I don't think Emmett really wants to accept that or see that. But that's the reality of the situation. Like, yo, bro, like, this beef is coming right to your doorstep. Anything that happens to Douda is coming right to you. So you better get your shit right. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. So he gives him the gun. And Darnell, Emmett's dad, man, he there's a scene where then after Douda leaves, and Darnell was already and I mentioned it in either the first episode or the second episode, where we see that Emmett is trying to keep a strong distance between his family and Douda, because he knows what Douda's capable of, right? So, you know what I mean? And we could see that Darnell could sense that, like, Emmett don't want me around this guy, whatever, you know what I mean? And nobody likes him. Nobody likes Douda. Nobody likes him. And so Darnell, man, he ends up stepping to him, man. He sees that, Emmett got a gun, and he steps to Douda, and he's like, yo, stay away from my son. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? My son don't, I mean, he don't need to be doing no business with you. And Douda is like, trying to play tough. Vic comes outside and almost intervenes, and Darnell was like, nah, I got this, whatever. And he just basically tells him, like, yo, like, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? If anything happens to my son, like, you got a problem with me. And it just I just love Darnell's evolution, man, because when they first started this show, he was the deadbeat baby dad, the deadbeat old head baby dad. Well, you know, they kind of made him like a deadbeat because he wasn't really in Emmett's life, but this guy that has all these kids and, like, you know, not very responsible. You know what I mean? He's smashing a girl that Emmett was trying to smash at the same time. Like, you know, just this, you know, carefree father, you know what I mean? Hard worker probably, but like kind of carefree when it comes to like his personal issues. And then, you know what I mean? Once he started getting back with Emmett's mom, and then they get married, and then we see like, yo, no, Darnell got a lot of redeeming qualities, man, as a father. Like he's not playing, man. Like he's protective, you know what I mean? He's concerned, and he don't want nothing to happen to his son. And now he's willing to put his own life on the line to prevent anything crazy from happening. So I thought that was dope to see that. I thought it was really, really important to see that. And I just, like I said, I love how the writers have allowed him to evolve, whatever, you know what I mean? And so a lot of these characters are dynamic. You know, we got some static characters. We got, you know, guys like Douda, like he's always been a bad guy. You know, you got other static characters in there, but I like these dynamic people that they putting into the show. Um, and even especially when they weren't always endearing. You know what I mean? Like I always thought Darnell was funny, just coming on the screen, but it was like, you know, he had that like sleazy kind of charm to him. And it's like, now it's like, no, he's a grown man, he's a mature man, and he wanted to protect his son. So shout out to him for stepping up for Emmett. And then the last major thing wanted to talk about in this episode, and I think is a really important thing, was we got some co-parenting slash blended family problems, right? So, you know, Emmett, for him, it's important that he maintains a strong relationship with Tiffany, right? And the one thing about the show that's weird is that, like, and I know they can't have everybody in the show, whatever, but like once they made Emmett this guy, this baby dad with a lot of kids. You know, we've only ever seen the other baby moms, like, you know, a handful of times throughout the whole series, whatever. So, but Tiff is like she's like the prize baby mom, right? You know what I mean? I mean, that's what she is. She's the number one, she's the main baby mom. And it's important for him to maintain a good relationship with her. And I think he still loves her. I don't know if I think he's probably like I don't think he could really be with her. I think he would give her a chance though, but like, you know, we know it's over. And Kiesha witnesses Emmett's son saying, you know, cursing at you know, another one of the other kids, right? And you know, Kiesha says something to Emmett, and Emmett, you know, he is a little bit immature. He laughs at it, whatever. But then obviously, you know, Keisha's seriousness, it snaps him out of play, you know, snaps him out of it, and then he gets into like, okay, no, like you're right, you know what I mean? So Emmett tries to broker this, he tries to spark this conversation. Kiesha kind of chimes in, whatever, and Tiffany was not feeling it, whatever. But basically the problem was that the little boy was cussing, and he said that he heard the words that he said, he heard it in his mom's car. So Keisha's like, wait up, like, you know what I mean? We don't operate that way. Keisha's like, we don't operate that way. So we have to do something. Like we cannot um we can't allow him to just kind of like do whatever he wants, right? Like we do need him to kind of, you know, kind of tone it down, and we need his mom's support, whatever. And Tiffany was like, it was just the tone of everything. I think she felt attacked, she felt blamed, and she was just like, you know what I mean, you don't, it's none of your business, basically, like see your way out. And I think they still got tension from the last season. um However, you know what I mean, I wonder what that's like, right? So it is hard, it can be hard being a co-parent, right? And then dating. right? Dating somebody. And there's a lot of hurdles that you got to kind of go through when you're doing that. But I can only imagine what it's like to be not only co-parenting, but co-parenting, and then you're entering like a blended family situation. So like your kid is literally living in two different households, and under and now he has supervision from two sets of adults. And you got one set of adults that are like kind of allowing certain things to happen, and then you got another set of adults that are a little bit more strict, a little bit more structured, a little bit more disciplined, right? And that's rare to say that about Emmett, whatever. But I think Kiesha kind of keeps him grounded in that sense, whatever. So yeah, it could have went left, but it went far as it could, and definitely didn't feel good, until Tiffany had that moment where she's in the car and she's listening to the music, and then like she sees her son like bumping his head, and she's listening to what the lyrics are saying, and she's like, nah, we got to turn that, whatever. And Rob, I don't know, it's hard to get a read on him sometimes, because it's like it seemed he laughed, he smirked about it. And I wonder if he thought like, man, you just gave in, or if he was supportive and thought like, yo, that's what's up. Like, what I mean, you took some constructive criticism, and you went about your business, whatever. So, it's interesting to know that. But I'm glad that, it seems like, at least with that, like it's bright. The future is bright, and it looks like that maybe they can co-parent and have this blended family situation. Maybe it can exist because Tiffany is willing to like listen to certain things, especially like something like that. It's like it's there's a lot of things that you can die on the hill on when it comes to your kids, but like if your kid is cussing, right, and it's directly linked to like music that they really shouldn't be hearing, that's not something that you should die. That's not a hill that you should die on. You shouldn't be dying. You shouldn't be like, oh, my kids are listening to whatever. They're going to listen to all, King, they in Chicago. So like, oh yeah, they're going to listen to any kind of drill, Chicago drill music, whatever. Cause I listen to it and I want no, that's not a hill to die on, because I mean, you can, whether you believe that music has direct influence into like that kind of violence, it's still probably not a positive. Like the words, it's the language that they're using. You don't want your kid, in elementary school talking about ops and talking about catching a blitz, or what I mean, talking about the glizzy or something like that. Like they don't need to know that language, right? And I ain't gonna say, like, for me, I mean, I listen to music that my son probably shouldn't necessarily listen to, but I feel like drill music is different in the sense that like it's so directly about bad. I guess it's so directed towards violence and crime and things like that, to where like there's no metaphors, there's no imagination. It's like, like this is what we're talking about. Like I feel like I listen to rap music that in some ways hides some of that type of stuff. Like now, if you listen closely, it's clear, but it's like they're not here like, yo, Saturday night I pulled up, rode on the op, and what I mean, like they're not getting specific like that, like some of this other music. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, like I said, you can't down that hill, and you got to do what's best for your kid. But yeah, like I don't know. I didn't see. Maybe I went too fast. I didn't see if they had like an episode, or they had like a episode preview or episode trailer. So it's interesting to see where they kind of go with the next episode. Again, we got Douda. People got their sights on him, and things could go left real quick. And we're gonna see kind of how that plays out. But what did y'all think of episode 3 of The Chi? I know this is kind of late. I know we're getting this out kind of late, but it's better late than never. We're gonna try to come back with episode 4 quicker, more quickly, and more promptly, and kind of more on schedule. So tune in. Make sure you tune in into The Chi. Again, it's Black America's favorite show right now. And it's crazy because we don't have that many shows. It's hard to say like, what's coming next, or what's what can we anticipate. So this is what we got. This is what we got until further notice. But what did y'all think about it? Leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought about the recap thought about the review. What did you think about some of them plot points and everything like that? But this is another episode of 280 Plus, y'all. Another recap for y'all. I'm out. Peace.